You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 236. Gold star for execution, not your great idea. If you're a business owner who wants to improve your time management and elevate your productivity so you can maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today, we're going to be diving into the topic of execution. I'm going to share with you some stories and examples of what happens in your business and life if you do not execute. I'm also going to be sharing with you ways that you can start executing more often and consistently. And then I'm going to share with you why execution matters over great ideas. And before we dive into all things execution, I want to invite you to check out my Leverage Lab program. You may have heard the saying, you need to slow down to speed up. But actually, I have my clients stop to speed up. S-T-O-P. So what is the S-T-O-P, stop leverage formula? Quite simply, it's the foundation of Leverage Lab. Breaking it down, this formula is all about getting coaching and learning and training around leveraging yourself, time, organization, and people. And under those four foundational areas of your business and life, I guarantee that you are going to see better results in your business. I want to dive into these four areas just a bit more specifically. Self. You cannot change your business or life without first changing how you think and operate. It is time to maximize your potential by prioritizing your mental and physical health, self-care, and personal goals. You will learn how to stop sabotaging yourself and start leveraging yourself. Time. Spending your days feeling overwhelmed, overcommitted, and overly exhausted is no way to live your life or manage your business. It is time to take back your time, get things under control, and utilize your hours and days wisely. You will learn how to stop wasting time and start leveraging time. Organization. In order to run your business efficiently, you must get organized. It is time to create an environment that supports your productivity by organizing your physical space, your digital space, and your business systems. Learn how to stop working efficiently and start leveraging organization. And lastly, people. Hiring the right people in your business and life can be a game changer. It's time to take an important step in your quest towards greater efficiency, profits, and freedom. Learn how to focus on building your dream team both inside your business and out so you can stop trying to do everything on your own and start leveraging people. There you have it. That is the foundation to Leverage Lab, which is to leverage yourself, time, organization, and people. So to learn more and join us inside this business coaching and training program, head on over to amberdelagarza.com/leverage lab. And now let's get to the straight talk. I'm going to start off today's episode with a story, and it's a personal story. About 10 months ago, my husband and I went down this journey of learning about cryptocurrency. And while we chose to go down this journey of learning something that was completely new to us, we thought it would be great to include Eric, include him in dinner time conversations, include him in things that we're learning, videos that we're watching, and just let him be a part of the conversation that my husband and I are having with thought exercises and opinions and what did you learn today, back and forth. So it became this really whole family experience of learning something about technology and, in my opinion, perhaps majorly impacting our future economy, future in business. Really, cryptocurrency will be mainstream sooner than we think. But back to the story. As my husband and I have gone down this journey of exploring and learning, we found out about a gentleman named Richard Hart. And Richard Hart created a token called Hex. And Hex was created on the Ethereum blockchain. And over time, because Ethereum has become so popular, and among many other reasons why, it has become very, very expensive to transact and costs a lot of energy to transact on the blockchain. So Richard Hart has decided that he is going to fork Ethereum and create something called Pulse Chain. And in addition to Pulse Chain, he's also creating an exchange that will be the primary exchange on this new blockchain. And we knew, because we were following him on this journey, going from frustration in this project that he created, stopping many people from using it because the transaction fees were so high that it was limiting the success. And mind you, limiting is relative, as it had already been quite successful project, Hex, on Ethereum. But he did see the writing on the wall and thought, this is not right. I'm going to fix it. And so he went from frustration into an idea of how to fix it into execution. And as he was executing it, and we are watching and listening and learning along this journey, we realized that he is creating this exchange. And he came out with the tentative name of the exchange, all by not realizing that he didn't actually own the domain. So of course, while there are amazing people out in the world, there are a few that are not. And someone actually purchased the domain and pretty much decided they were going to blackmail him and say, you need to pay me XXXX for the domain and I will happily give it back to you. And Richard was like, yeah, no. So he put it out to the community and said, what should I rename the exchange? What should the name be? Now, that is all the background to the actual story I'm going to share with you. We are sitting at dinner on a Friday night at BJ's restaurant with my husband and my son and myself. And we are talking about how, wow, he didn't get the domain. And wow, he's been so free to want to help so many people. And yet there's people out there that want to take advantage of that. And then we thought, well, what do we think the exchange could be named? And we're going back and forth and giving some ideas. And Eric came up with Heart Swap. Now, Hart is Richard Hart's last name, right? And swap is another way of explaining what an exchange does. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Let's see if the domain exists. Sure enough, we go on GoDaddy.com, click of the buttons, and I was like, for $2.99, we can own Heart Swap and then give it to Richard and tell him what our idea is for the name of this exchange. So we're all excited. It was a great idea. We actually write up this whole tweet to send to him to say, hey, this was my 11-year-old son's idea. He came up with Heart Swap. We bought the domain. DM us back and we will give you the domain if you choose this name. Now, look, we never heard back from Richard Hart, but it was a great exercise. It was a great conversation, and I thought it particularly was a great name. Then later, a few weeks later, we find out that he actually did name the exchange, and it's actually going to be called Pulse X. So of course, he owns the domain. We know that he no longer needs Heart Swap. And Eric just randomly said at dinner again, he was like, oh, that would make a great domain for a dating site. And I was like, what? Like, totally taken back. First of all, it would make an amazing name for a dating site, right? Like Heart Swap. But what does my 11-year-old son know about dating sites? That was the big mind blower for mom. And I was like, great idea. I was like, you find a dating site or someone that wants to purchase the domain, you pay me back the $2.99, and you make the profit off of that good idea. And that was it. Now I want to fast forward to months later, but only 2 weeks ago in my world. And we are on the way to school and he's in the back seat. And literally, this is a 3-minute drive to the bus stop. And within it says, so what about the domain? Have you found a dating site that will buy it? And I'm like, lost for words, but only for a moment. Because I was like, what? What do you mean, did I find a dating site? Dude, that was your idea. And if you want to profit from that idea, then you need to execute. You need to do whatever it takes to take that from idea forward into execution. But sitting in the back seat while your mom drives you to the bus stop asking if she took care of it is not going to get it done. Okay, now, I explained to him in so many words that life just doesn't work like that. Really what matters is the execution. And I'm investing in my son showing up his best, and I'm investing in you because I want to teach you how to show up your best. I want to teach you also, like my son, whom I love very much, that it is not just about the ideas, that it truly is what action will you take to propel you towards the goal that you have for your life, the goal that you have for your business, or simply the goal of selling this $2.99 domain for a profit. Let's just talk about the cost of having an idea and not executing it. I have a question. Who are you to rob the world of what you can give them because you don't want to execute, work hard, follow through, manage your time, delegate to others, ask for help, or create a strategy? You have something incredibly special. You have ideas that could change the world or simply a few lives. And that matters. That work matters. And so who are you not to take that idea and execute it? You may be gifted, like my son, and you may be gifted in ways that are unique to you. You may be a great visionary, full of ideas. Most and many entrepreneurs are. But only you can choose to use your gifts for good. Only you can choose to use your gifts to bring a great product or service into the world. Great ideas are worth nothing unless you execute on them. And here's the deal, the straight talk. You do not get a gold star for your golden idea unless you take action on it. Don't wait for the world to tell you, good job, great idea, good going on the ideas. No. Nothing will ever come from those ideas if they do not see the light of day and you choose to pursue them and start executing on them. Now, I want to also explain to you that my son may not have known how to go from an idea of a domain name and then a fit factor of saying that domain name would be a great fit for a dating site to taking the leap of selling it to a dating site. Totally valid. And you may find yourself in the same situation. You may have an amazing idea and not know how to get from idea to execution. But newsflash, Very few of us actually know how to get an idea to execution and all the steps in between. But what we can do is this. These are ways that you can start executing. And they're ways that were available to my son just like they are available to you. You can be a self-starter. Just start researching. Start looking to see what would it take to, for example, find someone to buy a domain. He may have found that there are actual websites that you can list the domain that broker it out for you, handle the transaction and negotiating on your behalf, take a percentage, and now the domain is sold. Now, does he know that that offer or website or service even exists? Absolutely not. Probably not, I'm guessing. But with some research, he could have known that. You could ask for help. You could ask a coach, a mentor, a friend, anyone that has walked down the journey a bit further down the path than you have. You can ask for support, for guidance. What was your experience when? What would be a great next step? This is when you can lean on people in your life, such as coaches, mentors, and friends. You can also just take action. Just the first step, and the first step most certainly will lead to the next step. You may not see the entire staircase, you just need to see one step at a time. You can invest your time without excuses. You do not say, I don't have the time. You make it a priority. You create the time because you have decided that taking your idea to the world is worth it. The carrot at the end is worth it. What is the reward? Why would you want to invest your time? You can begin by asking questions. And this could be asking questions of others or even asking questions of yourself. Having that internal dialogue that says, if I were to know what to do next, what might that be, right? If I knew how to sell a domain, what might I need to do? And just kind of sitting with that and exploring, how can I see this path moving forward? Show up consistently. Block out the noise, the distractions that steal your focus, and the next shiny object. Allowing distractions to rob you of the time that you, whether you intended or didn't intend to invest the time. Let's just say I intended to invest the time, but the distractions robbed me. That is not an excuse that you need to have. How about communicate? Communicating your good idea to someone who can help execute. Communicating your idea to others and talking it out may bring the right people into the world that can work with you and partner with you to take this idea to the world. How about lead your team? You see, we can have a great idea and we can assume our team is around us to execute, but unless we're able to communicate clearly to them our needs and our expectations, and that we can lead the team to take action by articulating the vision and laying out the strategy, it's not going to happen. How about setting timelines? Setting timelines for milestones that allow you to achieve the goal. By project managing this idea and realizing it's not just a one thing you check off your list. Like my son couldn't have written on his list, sell domain. It would have been a lot of steps, which then now creates it to a project to ultimately have the goal of selling the domain. And like you, I am certain that your ideas are bigger than a one checkoff on your to-do list. They are projects, so treat them as projects. Create milestones, break it down. Stay focused on getting yourself and your team and ultimately your idea to the finish line by executing it. Now, this is just a small list of things that came up for me that I wanted to share with you about ways that you can start executing. And if you think of the things that I just shared with you, and I'm going to go through these one more time, more succinctly so that you can hear them, is what is the opposite? What is the opposite character trait, or what is the opposite thought that is stopping you from, for example, being a self-starter, asking for help, taking action, just the first step, investing your time by prioritizing getting your idea out to the world, asking questions. Who do you need to be to show up consistently? What skill set can you refine to clearly communicate your idea? What skill set or choice do you need to make to lead your team to rally around this idea? And what do you need to do to properly project manage and set timelines so that this idea becomes executed on a consistent basis? Now, why does execution matter over great ideas? I'm going to break it down into my husband and I's personal parenting philosophy. You see, we learned quite young, when my son was young, that he's pretty bright, that was his natural talent that he was born with. But what we really wanted to focus on as being his parents is prioritizing his character over his intellect, because we knew he had the intellect, but what needed to be taken care of or supported, or gosh, there's so many words, but the piece that we knew we needed to support our son with was who he was going to be. And the reason that was so important was for this example. He could be intelligent and have amazing ideas, but if he didn't have the character traits to communicate his ideas to the world, they would be lost and wasted. If he didn't have the character and skill set traits to ask for help, to show up consistently, to be disciplined, to do things when they're hard, I believe, my husband and I believe, that would rob himself of joy of life, but also rob the world of his contributions. And like my son, my question to you is, what do you want to create in the world? Through your business or something that you're completely passionate about? It makes no matter what area of this contribution is. It takes the same character traits. Are you willing to be a self-starter? Are you willing to show up consistently? Are you willing to do hard things at whatever age you are at? And that is okay. We are all on this journey we call life. And if this episode is calling to you to say, oh my gosh, you're right. Like I have fire in my belly and I have dreams in my heart and I want to become someone that executes, then just start working on some of these traits, skill sets, habits, and behaviors that will support you in executing. Who are you choosing to be? Are you choosing to be a person who is full of great ideas but never takes them to the finish line? Or are you choosing to be a person who does the hard work of taking your great ideas forward step by step by step so that you can attain greater success and serve the world? I literally close out every single episode the same way. And there has probably never been a better time to close it out this way than for this episode. I sure hope you found today's episode to be incredibly valuable, insightful, and hopefully encourage you to taking action on that idea that you've had or have. No change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So, Based on what I shared with you today, how will you leave today's episode and take action on that great idea? Because what I know is that each of you have a great idea within you. I believe that with all my heart. So maybe you need to go look for that idea that you smashed down or put on the back burner or said someday maybe. But what is that idea that you could take the very first step on today? And as we close out, I just want to remind you, in case you were excited to jump in today's episode and you did not already hop on over, I want to encourage you to go check out my Leverage Lab program and see if it's a fit for you. See if what you've gotten out of the podcast and listening each and every week, are you ready to take it deeper? Are you ready to get additional support to get even better results? If the answer is yes, then head on over to amberdelagarza.com/leverage lab. And one last special thank you for today's episode is going to be going out to Maddie. Maddie recently said on iTunes review, each episode has so much insightful and relevant information to business owners at all levels. Amber's passion and enthusiasm is inspiring, highly recommended to anyone looking to put their best foot forward in their business endeavors. Thank you so much, Maddie, for sharing that review. I so appreciate it. And I appreciate each and every one of you. If you get a chance, please head on over wherever you're listening to this episode, rate and review the podcast so that others can find out about it. And be sure to share this episode or any of your favorite episodes of Productivity Straight Talk with a friend. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.